only national park on this island. It was a slave. It was a slave plantation at one point, and so the government bought it about 10 years ago, and we're holding it for the Bahamian people so that we can never lose it, because the guys wanted to buy it, the rich guys wanted to buy it, and actually turn it into condominiums and whatever have you. But we were able to purchase it, and so we're keeping it forever and ever. Amen. So we have putting in all this little stuff here and there. We just built a new kitchen just like you.
Yeah.
But our kitchen is a very small little thing. It used to be the security booth, and we just renovated it. That's this building here. It needs a lot more work to it. And we have about 40 employees doing everything. Snorkeling. Hi, Barnaby. Oh, hi. How you doing? So this is where all the food is done. This is Jason from Jamaica. Jason's always blogging. This is Miss Cox.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
This is a chef today.
Fully
I don't know if he's as good as you are. Fully active, yeah.
Yeah, man.
So we have some lobster and some fish. You want to get a picture of that?
It's going to change. It needs to change. There's so many aspects of linebacking core.
No pirate fish, those are snappers.
Yep. In a real life.
Smells good in a real life, yeah. So, we built a new kitchen. That's the big orange building.
Yeah.
That's our new kitchen. It's state of the art. We have to get the stove. Oh, hey. You met Jason. Yeah, you know this guy.
We spent good time
Up in the hills, man. Yeah, man. In a real life.
Okay, see salmon.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you made it.
So the property is truly amazing, man.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have a lot of hills in the Bahamas like you have in Jamaica. It's mostly flat ground. This island has very few hills, even though we like to think we have a lot of hills, but we do not. And this island has about maybe 200,000 inhabitants. It's only 7 miles long and 7 miles wide and 21 miles long, so it's very small. And everybody's concentrated in one area basically. But that's our new kitchen. It's very good. Yeah, I think the keys over there.
Yeah, man.
That's it there. That's state of the art. Nice freezers and all sorts of stuff inside. I'm going to show you off the cliff here because this is one of the highest points on this island, believe it or not.
Wow, ice spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bahamas is nice, beautiful.
I think you're more beautiful because you have more diversity. You have beaches, we have beaches.
Yeah.
But we don't have hills.
Yeah, and river, that's the only
rivers,
difference
yeah.
I see. Jamaica full of hills, so you see a lot of view and
Right.
full of river.
So you got a beautiful view right here. It's not too calm today. So this area, a lot of movies were filmed here. James Bond movies were filmed here. The movie Flipper was filmed here along these shorelines. Down there is the white sand, it's the snorkel site. And see the round thing in the water there?
Yeah.
That's the largest underwater statue in the world.
Oh.
Yeah, the lady that they have underground there. About 5 miles offshore from here is the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean. That's the tongue of the ocean. Only about 5 miles over there.
Wow.
And then the largest island in the Bahamas, Andros, is also next to it. And that island is about as big as Trinidad. It's a big island. Really big island.
No, yeah. I know you was going to say that. I would say fully active.
And that key offshore there is called Golden Key. That's our key as well, but nobody goes there. There's only one tree on it.
Oh,
a lot of birds basically settle there, but you know, and a lot of sharks around that area too.
Oh, okay.
But we have not had any shark bites here. We have dolphins, turtles, all the stuff in the water. On a calm day, you'll see the dolphins driving through. We have 1 or 2 hammerhead sharks, but they're accustomed to seeing the people because a lot of tourists come here to dive. And so they really, I don't know, they don't bother them. Yeah, so this is Clifton, man. This is where we work.
Yep, in a real life.
That's the power plant to provide all electricity to this island over there. You hear the engines running
Yeah.
in here. Oh, state of the art kitchen.
Yeah, man.
It was a container being refitted. We appreciate you coming, you know?
Yeah.
We really do.
I'm really appreciating having me too in a real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where say we are heading now, Jenna?
Alright, we going down to check out Johnstone. We have 5 private beaches
Yeah.
on the property. The property is again 208 acres.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to show you the first beach. That'll be Johnstone. I'll start from there and come up before we get to snorkel side.
Okay.
Alright, Johnstone Beach used to be also down there because the part of the property is 208 acres. It used to be a plantation down there named Johnstone. The guy named Mr. Johnstone. So that section down there was his plantation. Up here was a guy named William Wiley. So we going down right now. We can show you the Lucayan village where the Lucayans used to live. We have 3 civilizations used to live on property.
Okay. So, hear that, peeps. Stay tuned for that. In a real life, all heap of niceness I will go on today. And as you don't know, peeps, you don't know, so I don't really like the water business now. They never see me at the snorkelings or nothing, you know, but the bomber, so I would try it out today, you see, because I like for swimming on my glass and my fin and all of them things, and I know the snorkelers come with that. But I never know what me I go expect when I come at the park, so I need to bring no extra clothes or nothing like that. So when I go down there, you may gonna see what time it is.
You can basically see the level of the ocean with the land.
Yeah,
So you can see how high the ocean level is with the land.
yeah, that's true.
This beach is called the Flipper Beach. This is where they shot the movie Flipper. The movie Flipper was shot here with dolphin. So we name it after the movie.
The movie, yeah, Flipper. And all this beach is private beach that owned
Yes,
to the
all
property.
the whole property is basically private. So all the beaches private.
Okay. Yep, they must set up drill pan over there, so.
This is our Lucayan village. We are one up now. This is where the Lucayans used to live. So the whole park is actually historical. You see it.
Pretty place, nice. Tree house made out of tree, natural.
It's natural.
Yeah.
That's where the Lucayans used to actually live up in the section now. We have a lot of trees, sea grapes on this end. This is more of the white land. Up top is of the black land, black wetland. So you'll have more of the sea grapes down this end, yeah? Cocoa plum. Here. This is called Johnstone Beach. So we have one section is called Johnstone, split up into 3 pieces. We have Johnstone number 1, Johnstone number 2, Johnstone number 3 will be on the other side.
Okay.
Look at the view, beautiful view.
Yeah.
Nice calm weather.
Nice calm weather, nice view to peeps, nice little spot you can chill in a real life. And next thing I like to, one of them places where you have your own local privacy, you see it. I don't know what heap of people there, you see me, you see it? Yeah man, and it's a really down to earth thing, the place just nice. Remind me of yard, you see it? Yeah, all up on the beach, yeah. Remind me of yard, peeps. Can get your little chair there man. You know what I mean? Yeah man, them the paint and you look at table over there so. Yeah man. Active man. Sun clear and pretty nice sun man.
Look over there, that's the over there, it's called Light City. That's a gated community. That's the richest community, gated community in the Bahamas, and actually one of the top 5 or top 3 in the Caribbean.
Yo.
This is John Stone number 3 we're going through.
Oh, what is called? You know the name?
I forget the name of this community.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess call this name off the other day.
Yeah man, see some good stuff. On the tree someone know what them name. Yeah, them needle back home them now more look like how we call them plum the peeps. I forgot how them plum the name, that's why I'm really asked. And then right you can walk man, it's nice. Remember the view active man. And the sun nice and pretty. 2 degrees slow please. Okay, the little round stuff from that show a while ago. I think them call it 7 years apple. Here's the tree. Yeah man, I really like. Nice little outdoor spot. Yeah, place active. Nice.
Let's ship. See it's so down here it's actually just with rocks. You see like the following month, like next month, this will be just sand. Then
Yeah.
down there will be rocky.
Rock, oh so yeah.
So it actually shift. The sand usually shift.
Yeah man, the sun shift peeps in a real life. So up here is full of stone now. I must say maybe next month the sun move from down there and come up here and get down there so you see stone. So when I check it out, stone they down there is already, you know, but it just happen where the sun moving. Yep.
How you doing?
Yeah man.
You know it's a lot of events like church events, parties, soca parties, everything out here on this beach, on Flipper Beach. I'm going to hear you now. John Stone Church. Okay, the house is further down. Okay, you see the house. So we actually do what we do here. We actually like people research the place, we send it out with our sales and marketing team. We let them buckle like a heritage tour. You can do a walking tour and you come and see different ruins, and we have a tour guide will actually tell you the story about the history from back in the 17th and 18th century. So there's a lot of history behind the park.
Yeah.
A lot of history.
A lot of history peeps, so you need to come check it out. So you say back in the days this was like the church? Yeah.
That's how the church, this was the church.
Yeah.
And I came here to see the house next.
Okay, so we're gonna look on the house next. Yeah man. Fully active.
Beautiful view, nice cold day, nice boarding going on today.
Yeah. Yeah man, over here, nice place active.
And you see the key over there?
Yeah man, all of them here know sometimes I come down and walk in the tour. Some history right on them same way too, so you can check them out.
Also, you see the key over there far here?
Yeah.
That's a part of us. We call it Guana Key.
Yeah.
We have just one tree on the island.
Just one tree.
One tree just standing up. No one lives on the island, nothing's on the island. Just that one tree and some grass covering. The size of the house, and it used to be a 2-story, so this would have been considered a mansion back in like the 17th and 18th century. Mr. John Stone, this would have been his house.
Yes.
He was a slave master.
See, peeps. Yeah. Everything's still active. Yeah. Two stories, so you know, so back in the days it gone way up there.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Active.
So basically, if you like hiking, you like nature, you want to do a little walk here.
Yeah,
Walk and
yeah.
interact with nature, that's the place to come.
Yeah.
Come out to Clifton Heritage.
Okay, yeah, that check out Clifton areas, peeps. In a real life, you want it down to earth, walking in the nature, a view of the beach, everything active, and also them full of whole heap of history. Cause I know say I just me and the driver forward down. I know you really do the tour.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Park ranger.
Yeah, the park ranger there do the tour. Him just drive, come down here and show me a little. So when you come and you do your booking the right way, you and the tour guide, you walk and then he tell you everything, anything what you see, what you want to know. That's what the tour guide train for you. See, this is just the driver will just carry me down, come show me little how I go on in a real life. Really appreciate that. Yeah, man. To them have some activity business too, you know what I mean? Can go and show over some stuff you see there. I have only a little activity boy place same way, nice. Grill pan I can grill up something. Yo, the video just get nice, man. I left here so I go see what I go on a snack place. We have only a look at that touring for do. I come back down on the beach, the one with the further up there, so we show you earlier on with the grill pan. This so we are go chill out and just all of us video in a real life.
Let's stop you right now. This is our snorkel side of Clifton area.
Yeah, this is how them do the snorkelings, them carry out. And they put them go out fun.
Some other like Sports Boat, that's a company, a lot of companies usually come out.
Oh yeah.
Bring their boats round.
Oh, and that's where the statue. So that's why they're there. Yeah. Peeps the water rough. Wanna lie. Water rough.
When it calm at night.
Yeah, when it calm, it's nice like further down.
Further down.
Yeah.
And you see the difference, right? Like
Yeah.
this side reaches the windward side.
Yeah.
Next side down is the leeward side.
Yeah.
So the breeze is actually picking up more from the south.
Yeah.
And up top north, it's still calmer. So actually, like when you see right around 12, 1 o'clock, it usually shut. This is their calm.
Oh. Alright,
That's
yeah.
how it teach us. We learn more about nature each day outside here.
Yeah.
Wow, shut.
Yeah, man, I see them have some little history over here on the board. Yeah, water rough you know, I'm not going to that peeps, I'm not lie. I'm not going to that go snorkels you know, because water rough. Maybe if you're not rough with that, try it out. now I'm gonna do no something here now, peeps. Now I'm gonna do no snorkeling because you know say the water choppy. So they have everything. But just look on the water rough. Yeah. Maybe I'm glad to say rough too. But water rough, man. Yeah, man, water rough. So I can't go do no snorkels. You see, because the water rough. Yeah, man, I can't go do no snorkels, man. Water rough. There we have a hammock. Yeah, man, everything after man.
So far?
Yeah, my trip to the Bahamas is okay so far.
Okay. All right, I'm Bernita, your tour guide, no questions. Dumb, silly, crazy. If it comes to mind, make sure ask and I will do it to the best of my ability.
Okay.
But let's talk about Clifton Heritage National Park. How did Clifton got started? It got started where Bahamian people went on Bay Street. Have you been Bay Street?
Yeah, I passed through Bay Street.
Yeah. And they demonstrated, and the reason for that demonstration is that they wanted to make this whole area a gated community. But look at that building right there. That's the carriage house. It was built in the 18th century. We're doing a little work on it.
Yeah.
It's built in the 18th century. Do you think if they had made this a gated community, this still would be?
No.
All right.
Oh, yes, it would be a. It would just be here. We don't know what they would put here, but they would have that at the front.
Right. You go into the slave village.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were happy when the government of the Bahamas heard the people's cry and purchased 208 acres of land. It became a Parliament Act in 2004, and we were officially opened in 2009.
Okay.
So this, when you look at it, they could never sell this because it's protected under the Parliament Act.
Okay.
All right. Now we are also rich in history. We had 3 civilizations that once lived here. All right, just look at my board right here and I'll show you the 3 civilizations. You see those walls there? They were built in 1785. They were used to divide property or crops. So all through the park you'll see these dividers.
Okay.
Made out of stone.
So those are those things that part property, so you like it, I
And
know, say yes,
yeah.
for John Brown over there, so it's for,
Yes.
yeah.
I'll tell you the 5 main crops.
Okay.
All right, this here is the 3 civilizations that once lived here. The Lucayans, the enslaved Africans, and the European loyalists. All right, so that's my 3 civilizations I'll be speaking about. Any questions so far?
No, it's good.
All right, so
No
let's
question.
move on.
Any question gonna ask in the comment section. When I upload the video, they're gonna ask like in the comment section questions. So maybe somebody can just keep up in the comment section and answer whatever question they ask.
All right. Now, okay, let's look at the Lucayans. The Lucayans came here in 600 AD from Hispaniola. All right, which is known now as the Dominican Republic. All right, and they came here in 600 AD. The Lucayans, brown in complexion, very straight black hair. They were known to be very good hunters. Here in the Bahamas, we don't have much of a wildlife.
Yeah.
No tigers, no bears, no lions, nothing like that. So they hunted the iguana lizard, the Bahamian crocodile, which is extinct, the flamingo, the parrot. Now, because we did not have much of a wildlife here, they did the very next best thing. What do you think that was?
They didn't have a wildlife, so they do the next best thing.
The next best thing.
What they do, bring in the wildlife?
What do you think about the water? Here in the Bahamas, we are surrounded by water.
Yeah.
So the next best thing for them is to fish.
Fish. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. She catch me on that one. That's why we have a lot of fishermen over here.
Yes.
Everything
that's
is
the banana.
fish. Yeah.
Yes, they fish.
Yep.
All right. So they live near the water. Since they became very good fishermen and divers, their diet consists of seafood, which were the fish, the conch, the turtle. Have you tried the conch yet?
Yeah, I tried the conch. It's nice.
Conch salad?
Yeah, I don't really like the salad, but it's nice. Too, my first time eating it, so maybe if my system get used to it, it would be nice. But in Jamaica, we don't really eat raw food.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's one of our, you could say, signature food, the conch salad. You can have it the original, or you can have it tropical, where they do add some mangoes.
Yeah, that's how I have it. I have it some mangoes, pineapples and stuff.
Now you remember I said these walls were used to divide.
Yeah.
You saw the sign, the banana hole. So once you step over, the banana hole is a cave.
Okay.
All right. Now look at this. You can have some idea how deep this is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it's about 18 to 20 feet. Make sure I don't drop it.
Yeah.
You know, that's a long way down.
Yeah, and that's really
And this
a long
is
way.
natural.
Yeah.
All right. Now this is the main entrance of the banana hole. Okay, the banana hole was used by the Lucayans. Remember I told you that they live near the water. All right. Now here in the Bahamas we have hurricane. Hurricane is a Lucayan word. All right. So whenever there's a hurricane, they will go right in there for shelter. Now you may look at it and say, Bernita, what about water? It doesn't retain any water regardless of how much or how long it rains. And you look in there, look exactly like that.
Yeah.
So it was used for shelter. Now because the times, every hole to them are very sacred. And the reason for that, they say they came from the ground and they will return to the ground. All right?
Okay.
So because of that, what they will do is they will bury their dead in caves or blue holes, like the cacique who was their spiritual and their political leader. Now, with the cacique being their spiritual and political leader, all the decision is made by the cacique. So when there's a major decision to be made, the cacique will go in there. He will sit on a duho, which is a stool or chair. Then he would have a stick. That stick is called the vomit stick. He will take that stick and force it down his throat, meaning that he's inducing vomit. Then he will cleanse his stomach out by vomiting, and then he'll take the cohiba, which is a plant. He will grind it up. He will inhale it. He will get high, start hallucinating, seeing vision, dreams, and then he will let his people know what conclusion he has arrived. So you imagine your leader getting high before he makes a major decision, but it was a part of their rituals. And this is called banana hole because the enslaved Africans, they grew bananas around here.
Okay.
All right. Any question?
No, I'm good. I'm just taking notes. I'm just learning the culture, peeps, and sharing with you all over the world, so you can come here and full jar the tour for yourself in a real life.
Now, what happened too, that when Christopher Columbus and the Spanish, they came here in 1492, and their main objective was in search of gold, silver, and spices. Here we don't have any gold or silver, but what they also did was they enslaved the Lucayans. They gave them all type of diseases. So by the year of 1520, that whole civilization was wiped out. There is no descendants of the Lucayans. All right, here. So because of that, here in the Bahamas, a lot of Bahamians, we have this, they have mixed feelings about Columbus. Some say, how could he say he discovered the Bahamas when the Lucayans were already here? Yeah. And some say, how could they honor someone who has wiped out a whole civilization? And some say it's just history, you know?
Just
you
history.
cannot change it. So instead of celebrating Columbus Day here in the Bahamas, what we do, It's called Heroes Day, meaning persons who have contributed to the community. These are the ones they will honor on that day. All right, so that's my first civilization from 600 AD to 1520. And it was said that the Lucans was the first culture to be wiped out by the new and the old world. Now, my second civilization were the European loyalists, and they came from Savannah, Georgia. And this was during the time the U.S. was having its Revolutionary War. And the reason for this war, or War of Independence, is because they didn't feel like they should be paying taxes to the British because they didn't have no representation in Parliament. So, you know, they went to war, they won, but there were a small group of persons. They were called European loyalists who live in Savannah, Georgia. They wanted to remain faithful to King George III, so they sided with the British. And because they sided with the British, they were no longer wanted in the U.S., so they asked the British to send them to one of their territories. The Bahamas was a part of the British colonies, so they were sent here, and they were given crown land for their loyalty to the British. All right. Now in the backyard, William Wiley is responsible for everything in the backyard. He allowed his slaves to build out the mortar and the limestone. Mortar is when they gather the conch shell, they crush it, they burnt it for 3 to 4 days, add some sand, add some burnt wood, and that's called mortar. So this here is the kitchen. And look at building in the 18th century. And this would make Clifton so special because you can actually come in the slave village or settlement and actually see a building where a slave once lived, built, either the ruin or the building itself.
Yep, that's true.
All right, here, now this would have been a community kitchen, meaning that all the enslaved Africans, they cook in here. William Wiley, he was a loyalist who came from Savannah, Georgia, but he was not granted any crown land, even though he settled, he sided with the British. Now, the 5 main crops that were grown here was corn, sugarcane, rice, cotton, and indigo. Indigo is a plant, once you soak it, it produces that blue dye, and that's what they use for the denim jeans back then. All right, this is the stove. So William Wiley had 8 couples, and all of them cook in the same kitchen, the community kitchen. And look at the walls, very thick.
Yes, this was the stove.
So they would have put, you know, some wood,
yeah,
here, and then put a grill over it, and it's the stove.
Yeah.
And look at this, this is pretty large.
Yeah.
So it could accommodate a lot of pots. Yeah. Now, even though this was a community kitchen, it was still, looking back, considered a luxury item because guess what? You had an indoor stove instead of cooking on the outside. Yeah. All right. And look at this tree here, the African slave. They believe that it kept away evil spirits and poisonous snakes. It's called the kamalami tree. Maybe I came to the conclusion probably that's why we don't have any poisonous snakes here. But the kamalami tree is used as a form of bush medicine. All right, here in the Bahamas, we still use a lot of bush medicine, like the bark of the tree. It's called kamalami, or the tourist tree. What they'll use it is boil the bark of it and make a tonic, and usually the men drink it. all of these are ruined. Now, two trees that the enslaved Africans usually planted, if you look at that tree over there, is the tambourine tree. It was used, and look at this, the sapodilla, but Bahamas we call it dilly.
In Jamaica, we call it neeseberry.
Yes. Very delicious, sweet like sugar.
Yep, you're right.
Well, it's popular in the Bahamas, and Bahamians love it. Now look at this building too. Okay, this is the one that he's going to talk to you more about.
Okay.
This is refurbishment, and we added some shingle. Some wood to it. But if you want to, we can walk down there, and then times we come back, probably will be.
Okay.
All right, that's good. There's a replica of what what you call a fire pit. It looked like we did some grilling on it, like cassava, sweet potato, grilled corn. We use it. All of these are ruins.
Yeah.
There's another large one.
Yeah. Just remaining of buildings.
Pardon me?
Just the remaining of building.
Yeah, we call them ruins.
Ruins.
See, and this is what the Bahamian people, went out there in March or demonstrated for, to preserve all of this. All of this is a part of history. We are looking at the 18th century, and these buildings are ruined and still standing to this day. Now this one is a replica, so we'll go to the other one down there. Here you can. There's another cabin. And look at it, that's the original floor right here. You can look at it, you can see that it's made from the right here, the mortar and the limestone. So the up in here is the original.
Yeah.
And look at the walls, all of them are very thick.
Yeah, that's true. Very.
So that's a lot of work was involved building one of these. See how much work is involved in this? Okay. In 2015, we had Hurricane Matthew, and it brought all of this down, but you see how heavy this is? And this came from, all of this came from the same building right here.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work involved in building one of these cabins. That's the original floor.
Original flooring.
Look at this building. This is very impressive. About 80% of the walls are the original. Now the roof would have been thatched. Now anything with wood, you know, is replaced. But look at the roof; it's really well done, and it was done by two of our staff, Jason Balfour and Dorothy Smith. They did an excellent job.
Yeah,
You could
it's,
come in here and it's storming and not a drop of water. Now the floor was redone, but the walls, like about 80% of the walls are
still original.
It's pretty strong in sound. Anything with wood, you know, it had to be replaced because, you know, wood deteriorates after a while.
Yeah.
And then you still could go in the inner city and find steps like these to this day. You feel the coolness?
Yeah, in here is cool.
It's designed to be cool in the summer, but yet warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Look at the thickness. Now, back then the wall, the windows was either push out with a stick or it will throw back. Only one family live in these, regardless of how big they may be or small. Only one family.
Yep, it's beautiful.
It is. Now this whole area was plantation. It was like the whole area across the street and over here, all of this was plantation. So you can see now the tambourine tree was known back in the days when you were young. Your parents used to discipline you.
Tambourine. Yeah, man, big old tambourine tree.
Yes, you can see the fruits right here.
Yeah. See, a lot of fruits. Don't look as none as fit as yet. No, normally when tambourine fit, they drop when they
these are
ripe.
green, they're not ready.
Yeah, these are not ready as yet.
They're all green.
Yep.
Back in slavery time, they made what you call tambourine sauce. We still do that today, where we add a lot of sugar to it because it is a sour fruit.
Yeah.
Sweet to sour, or sour to sweet, and we still use it. And now what became very popular is the tambourine drink or the sapodilla drink. A lot of persons are making it today. Very delicious, very sweet.
a nice little tour. We have one more tour coming up, but we have a gentleman who will tell me certain things about that tour and stuff. So it is fun now, but as soon as the gentleman forward, we have a house tour where we're going to give you about the Jamaican and the Bahamas. So stay tuned for that. Like up the video, share, subscribe to the channel. Remember, tell a friend to tell a friend, and just come do some tour. You see, from the Love Bahamas, this is a place where you're supposed to come tour, because you see the real down to earth thing, the real natural thing. All of the slave things them still there here. So here's the place you have to come tour from you love the Bahamas culture. Even if you don't love the culture, you can just still come give it a tour, because it's nice when you know about other culture. You see, yeah, in a real life. Just subscribe to it.
Christopher Davis, also known as John Canoe II. And here we are at Clifton Heritage Park, New Providence, the Bahamas, the western extremity of the island. That is where Clifton Heritage Park is. And it's the only national heritage park in the Bahamas and one of the few in the entire Caribbean as well. And now we're about to enter the African village, and we're just going to talk a little bit about what the African village was all about. We're going to talk about displaced Africans in the Bahamas. We're going to talk about some of the historical and cultural connections that Jamaicans and Bahamians share. So here we go. Even though this one was rebuilt, but it can show you the way that some of those places used to look. Right now, this is the African village and not the slave village, because enslaved people were not the only people that lived here. All right, so there was actually a great diversity of different Africans living here. Some were enslaved, some weren't. Some were what they called, the British called, liberated Africans. But they weren't actually liberated Africans. We now refer to them as displaced Africans, right? Because the term liberated African was just a term of propaganda that was used to kind of overplay the role of the British in improving the lives of Africans who would have otherwise been enslaved, right? But as you can see, in this area, you had the so-called liberated African living alongside the enslaved African as well. And this is one of the best remade homes that they would have lived in, right? In particular, this place named Clifton was named after a man named William Wiley, who had a plantation in Georgia by the same name, right? And William Wiley was a royalist, a very important military man in what is now known as the American Revolution, and those were the people that came down to the Bahamas. And that is also how most of the enslaved population also came to the Bahamas as well. So this is separate from those that came on these ships after 1808, when the British abolished the slave trade, that are misnomered liberated Africans, but of course that we now refer to as displaced Africans, right? And all in this area here is, as I mentioned before, where they lived. So one of these groups came from a slave ship known as the Joanna that landed here in 1811. And from that ship alone, there were 5 people that came from a village that is very familiar to Jamaicans, known as Cormancy, right there east of Anomabu. And this is where the term Cormanti in Jamaica also comes from. The first liberated Africans that lived at Clifton, they actually came from a place that is very familiar to Jamaicans, right? So there's a port in Ghana, present-day Ghana, known as Anomabu, and there's actually a village a few miles east of Anomabu, known as Cormancy. And this is where they get the word Cormanti, which was a kind of blanket term for all of the Fantes that would have come from that time Gold Coast to Jamaica. And a large group of these people also came to the Bahamas as well. In particular, the one that relates to Clifton was on the slave ship Joanna, which arrived in the Bahamas in September of 1811. And from that ship, you had 5 liberated Africans, all of whom were children at the time, who were then indentured to William Wiley. And they essentially, though they were skilled laborers, for the most part, they still did work alongside the enslaved, right? So essentially, those liberated Africans or displaced Africans were Adam, Apam, Apia, Yarako, and the most important one that we've actually done a lot of research on, his name was Cujo. And of course, we know that we have the term Cujo, which means born on a Monday. And the city of Trelawney in Jamaica used to be called Cujo Town, right? So you can see just a slight cultural connection even there. And so both Jamaicans and the Bahamas, we have a very, very strong connection to Ghana, particularly through the slave trade, but also through our shared culture that we know as John Canoe, right? We call it John Canoe in the Bahamas. Jamaicans call it John Canoe or some other variation, but essentially this has all been done in commemoration of a great Ahanta warrior from Princess Town. And his warriors were brought to the Bahamas, brought to Jamaica, and this was the origin of the first John Canoe commemorations in the Western Hemisphere, which actually began in the Bahamas and in Jamaica simultaneously, as I said, in great commemoration of this warrior king known as John Canoe II. Okay, the other ship that came that brought liberated Africans here came 5 years later on the slave ship Rosa. Right, there's a famous Bahamian family whose ancestor Britain Aeneas also arrived on this, and this ship came from Bonny Island and it was filled with Igbos and Yoruba people from present-day Nigeria. And the children that came from that ship were then 4 of them actually, Aseka being the main one that actually survived here. They all came in, many of them were actually raised by Cujo, who became Cujo Wiley, and his wife Esther. And this is actually the house right here that was built by Cujo Wiley himself. And then he married Esther. And if we go inside, we could talk a little bit more about that history, particularly the shared culture between the Bahamas and Jamaica. Yeah, so this was the house that was actually built by Cujo Wiley. He came here at a very young age. He was about 10 or 11 years old. And by the time he was 18, he married an enslaved woman who belonged to Wiley named Esther. He was what was considered to be the master mason, and though he wasn't enslaved, he very much lived as one of the enslaved skilled workers here at Clifton, right? But Cujo Wiley actually represents the kind of best case scenario that would have happened with these displaced Africans that came to the Bahamas. And generally speaking, they were very much treated similarly, and in many cases even worse than enslaved people. And the biggest fallacy in referring to them as liberated Africans is when you look at how the indentured servants and the apprentices used to run, right? So this apprenticeship period that they would have to serve was separate from the 4-year apprenticeship period that the enslaved suffered through in Jamaica, in the Bahamas, under those British colonies, right? And so the liberated Africans, the displaced Africans as we now call them, they would have had to serve 7 upwards of 21 years of apprenticeship for the same white planter class in the Bahamas, right? And so just for one example, on May 10th of 1838, 1,200 Yorubas landed here in the Bahamas. And even though only a few weeks later, chattel slavery ended in the Bahamas, those Africans that were here that were called liberated by the British then had to serve 13 more years of an apprenticeship for the same planter class that were the ones that were owning slaves, right? And so that is where we now can see that the term liberated African was more so British propaganda than an actuality. So now we can go into some more links about Jamaica and Bahamas. That's cool, right? All right, so there are some strong links between Jamaica and the Bahamas, right? So I spoke about how many Jamaicans come from central Ghana today, south central Ghana, an area, and they were referred to as Coromantee. And as I mentioned, Cujo Wiley and others were from that region and also described themselves actually as Coromantee. But even in our more modern history, so our first prime minister in the Bahamas, he actually came from Cujo Town, or his father, I should say, came from Cujo Town, which is known as Trelawney. Okay, so his father came here as a police officer, and he was actually from Trelawney. And then he married a woman who was a Bayan from Andros, and then they gave birth to the man that became our first prime minister that led us to majority rule. That was actually just celebrated last week, and also brought us to independence as well. So he's like the Bustamante of the Bahamas, that guy that brought us to independence, right? Also, you have Marcus Garvey, right? So Marcus Garvey, you can see I even have him here on my chain, right? So Marcus Garvey, for most Pan-Africanists, he is like the ultimate figure, the ultimate Pan-Africanist. He is considered a hero to the entire African diaspora. Of course, the founder of the United Negro Association, as it was then known, International Association, as it was then known, but we now know that this was something much more profound. And Marcus Garvey kind of set this precedent of what it meant to be African living in the Western Hemisphere, right? Now, his teacher was a man named Dr. Joseph Robert Love, who was born right there in an area now known as Bain and Grantstown, right there in the Bahamas, which is always considered a kind of African stronghold in the Bahamas as well, right? And so one of the fathers of Pan-Africanism who taught Marcus Garvey was Joseph Robert Love. And then if you go right there to St. Anne's, where Marcus Garvey is actually from, there are many commemorations to Dr. Joseph Robert Love. But many Jamaicans don't actually know that he was born in the Bahamas. And a part of this is because the Bahamas has not properly acknowledged this historical figure as a national hero, or even the profound global figure who was the master teacher of Marcus Garvey. In fact, it is said that Marcus Garvey actually founded the UNIA upon the death of Dr. Joseph Robert Love. So this could show you the amount of impact and influence that he had. And as a matter of fact, Bahamians have always had a massive impact in early Pan-Africanist movements. So even Alexander Raming, he was the founder of the Harlem chapter of the UNIA under Marcus Garvey. So you see someone who was born in the Bahamas, was a teacher of Garvey, and then you also have a man who was a protege of Garvey who also came in from the Bahamas. And those are just a few of the cultural connections that are shared between the Bahamas and Jamaica. And to learn more, you have to come and see me here in the Bahamas at Clifton Heritage Park. Again, this is Christopher Davis, also known as John Canoe II. Thank you very much.